Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. I'm Casey Green, and I'm here today with Sean from the Tesla Family Channel. And our regulars will probably join us partway through our intro, as typical. So over here today, we're looking at almost 90
Hey,
degrees. Go ahead. I'm lagging. I don't know why I'm lagging.
yeah,
So how's it up there in Maryland?
good. We're 87, 90 degrees up here. It's hot. I haven't been outside yet today. Just trying to stay cool.
Oh man, yeah. I dropped Luna off at work, and then on the way back, 95 was just a standstill from Woodbridge all the way up to to Springfield. The car and Waze took me both took me the same route, but the car seemed to be a little more optimistic by like 2 minutes as far as the arrival time, and so they took me through all sorts of back roads in Northern Virginia, and it was worth it. All right, good morning, Zach.
Yeah, however you can save time, that's great.
All right, let's see. Today, let me pull up my topics because I mixed them all around today. So I've got a couple that aren't websites, so I can't really share a picture. So let's start with another Model Y price increase, another couple $100, just keeping the profit margin where it should be, which is what they've always promised. But man, if they could just do one and like stick with it, it's like been one a week or multiples a week for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I haven't been tracking the price changes that much. We were going to get a Model Y, and then just decided that our Model 3 is fine for our family of three. And I'm waiting for Cybertruck. I've had my day one Cybertruck reservation, and excited for that when it comes out.
There you go. You'll probably have yours before me because I put mine out in the first morning. I had to sleep on it. It was like that wasn't what I was expecting to see. And then I kept thinking about the specs. I'm like, who cares what it looks like? The specs are awesome.
Yeah, I think I made my reservation around 1 o'clock in the morning. It took me an hour or two to think it over, but I was like, I'll go for it. It's just a reservation, right? But I'm still excited for it. And right now, my plan is to keep the Model 3. And if this Tesla automated taxi fleet plan goes through, that's the plan, is to use the Model 3 for that.
There you go. They're asking if you have an external mic for your device. They're having difficulty hearing.
External mic?
Yeah, like a headset or something.
I'm just using my phone. I don't know.
That, that's cool. But if you have like a Bluetooth or a plug-in, they're asking about that. Eddie says he likes the Model 3. Absolutely, Eddie. It's a nice vehicle. That's what Sean drives every day right now.
All right. That's right. Every day, Model 3. It might sound better now. I had my phone docked in a weird location, so maybe
yeah, it is clearer now.
Microphone was covered up. Okay, sorry about that.
It's clear on my end. How's it for you guys in the audience? And then, so we talked about the Model Y increase. The second solar panel array, we talked about last week, the first solar panel array had a slight delay because the astronaut had to go reboot his suit. And it was actually up and running before we actually started the show, as one of our viewers told us. And so the second one is up now. And so now they have over 120 kilowatts of solar power at the International Space Station, courtesy of SpaceX and not Crew Dragon, Cargo Dragon. Zach says that's better. And
yeah, it's awesome.
Software update. Okay, nobody was talking to you, Amazon. She's like, thank you. So software update 2021.4.21 is now rolling out worldwide. And it seems to be going to people who were on 2021.4.18. Either vanilla or .2 or .3. We'll see what's in it. This morning, I finally finished filming 2021.4.18.2. So I'll start cutting the video together, and hopefully the video of the deep dive will be out before the next software rolls out. And then I'll go back and catch the other two that I missed. Well, I didn't miss them, but I didn't even start the videos because they had long, beautiful drives. So I think what I'll do is I'll summarize them, and then I'll just put the long, beautiful drives as separate videos. Let's see, another cool one that had no. Well, it does have a visual, but it's TEN News, Transport Evolved Network, with uh, with Nikki there, and she reports that in Norway next year, in 2022, that Tesla is going to open the supercharger network to other brands in Norway. What does everybody think of that?
How do you feel about that, Casey?
I think it's pretty cool. I've always said, the more fast chargers out there, the better. The only thing I want is that that they pay the same or more as us, and that they have a way to do the plug-in charge situation either through an adapter box, which they shouldn't really need because it's CCS over there, or through like the Ford has the international standard built into theirs where it's just plug it in, it says here's my VIN, and then that can be referenced and charge your account. I would kind of like to see them pay a little bit more than we pay because that's just an incentive to get a Tesla, but not as much as they have on the other networks, because then all of that money is coming in to help us have a bigger network because there's revenue. What do you think about it, and what does the audience think about that?
I'm thinking that why, if we did do that in the U.S., right, we should probably leave, I don't know, half or a few stalls dedicated to Tesla still, just because you don't want to pull in and not be able to charge your Tesla at a Tesla
Right.
supercharger if it's full with non-Teslas, right? I think at least a few should be open.
Absolutely, that's like, especially in places like California, or like a vacation corridor, like for instance, the Savannah Airport. It's got ones around it now, but say in that situation where Savannah was the only one and it's a limited number of stalls, maybe like you said, make one or two guaranteed to only charge a Tesla. But others like Florence Mall, for instance, it's rarely full, and when it is, it's usually because of people icing the spots. But now they've finally started ticketing people, and they've got that weird crosshatch parking pattern. I rarely see anybody icing it these days. Although when we went to Charleston 2 weekends ago, there was a lady taking up 2 spaces, so I parked right behind her so she couldn't back out, and I started charging. She was stuck there for 30 minutes. Sometimes I can be a jerk.
Wow. You got to charge, right?
I mean, I had to charge. There were 20 open spaces, and I parked right behind her and blocked her in because she was parked across 2 spaces. I was upset. It wasn't one of my best moves, but she didn't. I don't think she'll be doing it again. Andy got a Y with FSD yesterday, and there's a lot of phantom braking, loss of radar. My 3 enhanced and my RIPX with FSD are much better. Radar extraction pains. So on my car with 2021.4.18.2, it feels like they demoted radar. It's still there because there's some times where there's some stuff that I couldn't see and the camera couldn't see. Like the other day, Friday night, there was this motorcycle running with no lights, no daytime running light in the front, and no tail lights. And I could hear him, and I did not see him until the car slowed down. I was like, oh, that's why we're slowing down. And so unless the cameras were running in infrared or something, they had to have used the radar to do it. But the smoothness at which it operates now feels like either they've really tuned in the algorithms, or it feels like radar is not participating in this anymore, or at least not 100% of the time, because of the way that it's doing its following. It's just super smooth. Hey, Luna. All right, let's see what we've got here. Sorry. Stephanie's asking if we're on today. We sure are. Let me give her another copy of the link. I was wondering, she's usually on time compared to some of the other ones. Okay, so what does the audience think about the open supercharger situation? I know that some people get really protective of it. Morning, Anders, or afternoon, evening for you. And let's see what we've got here. So I think that was the biggest one I had that didn't have a picture, was that they were opening up the superchargers, potentially. So the reasoning that she said behind this is because they are taking in some public funds in Norway, and in order to use those public funds, you have to have a public network. And so that's why she makes the connection that she did. It's possible that they could end up putting in generic fast chargers, but there's no point in doing that because in Germany we saw that the current superchargers with CCS can handle a CCS car. When we had that accidental week of free charging for non Teslas. In the U.S., that you would still need the adapter, so I'm not sure how they would handle that, if they would give out adapters or sell adapters, or if they would just put in some of the CCS superchargers from Europe, but with the correct pins. There we go. So what do you think about that, Steph, with the potential for Tesla opening the supercharger network in Norway to all cars? I agree, Zach. Yep.
I just got on, but I love that idea. I think that opening it up as much as you can and allowing more people access just seems like if ultimately your goal is, increased EV ownership and ease of use, then that seems like that would be consistent with the ultimate goal. So yeah.
Yeah, it advances the mission. And yeah. I agree with Andy. Yeah, it seems to make sense. I don't know how much more to charge, but just enough that you bring all of the business to the supercharger network, and that way they can use that to grow. With some of these third-party charging networks, they are really proud of their networks, and it shows in their pricing. Oh man, I like that annual fee and a little bit more per kilowatt. That would be cool, because that's how some of them do now. Is like you have like a quarterly or annual membership. Yeah.
I like it.
Perfect. Yeah. All right, so let's get into the ones we actually have pictures for now. The first one, there's a picture, but I'm not going to show it. There's you saw last week our friend Marcus. He has converted his Plaid Plus order to Plaid, and what's happening now, according to several Redditors, is that the Plaid Plus reservations are automatically being converted to Plaid orders with the motor vehicle purchase agreement and no option to cancel. So what they were doing initially when Marcus was looking into what was going on, they were canceling orders, or they were converting them at your request at the current price, which was not really fair because you got in line for the better car and they canceled that car. And if you knew in advance and you still wanted the best they were going to offer, you would have got it at the lower price. And so what they ended up doing was correcting the price. What they're doing now is automatically correcting the price and converting the order, but you can't cancel without a cancellation fee. They seem to have themselves quite a lot of trouble doing what happens to be the right thing that won't get them in hot water.
What's the cancellation fee?
They keep your order fee and then they don't make the car.
What was the order fee? Was it just $100 or were the
I don't know if it was 100 or 1,000. I know that for these special editions they tend to ask for a little bit more. I know when I did mine it was 5,000.
So they are switching the orders, and then if you cancel the order that was placed for not the car that you're now in line for, they won't give you back your reservation.
Right. I think that's weird because if at least if it was your
action,
right.
You can't do that.
Exactly. they played a little fast and loose.
No, I imagine they give you an opt-out before they switch it to the right.
So you think that somebody's missing like an email somewhere, perhaps?
Yeah.
I hope so, because with the size and expertise of their legal team, I can't imagine they make some of the gaffes that they do. Yeah, exactly right, William. It would be bait and switch, and that would be not the right move. I mean, because at least when they canceled the Model Y standard range, they said, hey, do you want to move up? You're not going to pay the same price. You got to pay your original price. And then others where, like the Model 3 Performance initially, they gave you the choice of getting the lower price or losing and losing your free supercharging, or keeping your free supercharging and then getting a little bonus of some sort. I don't remember what the bonus was if you kept it. Torres, no, I don't want to buy followers, thank you. Explain why EA is so expensive when it's supposed to be a penalty for Dieselgate. Looks like profit gouging to me. 6 times the cost of wholesale electricity. So a little bit of that and a little bit of something else. So when they did their punishment. EA is not allowed to charge, Electrify America is not allowed to charge wholesale rates. So they have to charge the most in their region as part of their punishment, which I think is just, I got to look up where it came from, but I don't think they have to be the most, but they aren't allowed to do certain discounts that other networks that aren't being punished are allowed to do. So at least for the next couple of years, Electrify America is pretty much going to be the highest priced one that you could possibly pick. Good morning. We were just talking about the how they switched over your Model S Plaid, and then what they're doing to some other folks that came in line after you.
Oh, is that Marcus?
Yeah, that's Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
And Robert Williams says, Robert Williams says when he went to the shops the other day of the hike, the public charger, they put the price up again. Yeah, that's the other thing, is like with the price of electricity isn't that volatile like gas. So I'm surprised that they're moving them up and down like that. Yeah, I agree, Andy. It's not really much of a punishment. Here's some more profit for you. I think what we're hoping they would see is that there would have been more competition, and that there would be less customers, and they would have to put out the stations. I don't know if they were trying to run them out of business or what the case might have been, but you're right. It wasn't a well thought out punishment. Here's a market dominance in charging behind Tesla, and your only penalty is you get a little bit extra profit on top of it all. It's like, seriously. $1.49. Sorry, £1.49 for petrol. I don't know if that's high or not. All right, so moving on from the Plaid. Oh, well, here we go. So Tesla's 4680 production process is outlined in Giga Berlin's revised filings, reveals a treasure trove of information. And let's see if I've got pictures I can share on what those might be. I've got some pictures. Let's do a share screen tab. That one. So we've got a layout of the plant and a little bit of their production processes from Tesla Rowdy, obviously. And so their anode and cathode production will be on the first floor, as seen in the picture. And I don't know why it does this. It makes the tweets look funny. I'm not sure what their picture is there. We'll go back to it. Yeah, let's get that. And it's probably going to open a new tab that you guys can't see. Oh, no, it did. Sweet. All right, so here we go. We get some pictures of the plant. Come on. That is one impressively massive building. Like, all of this is just that little section right here. Okay. I mean, look at the trucks. They are like little toys to the size of this massive structure. And then they've got another view, the one that was on that article, just showing the layout of the batteries. So them making their own cells is the right move. Omar was here and then he was gone. It's the right move, and it's good to see they're actually going to start with the 4680s, because I think the rumor was that Austin is getting both 4680 and 2170 equipment just to make sure that they are on time. I think that Berlin was also getting that same equipment. Bureaucratic logic, exactly, Andy. And Marcus had a $1,000 deposit. Okay, non-refundable though. Oh, yeah. So that's why, it depends on doing what's right in the case of not bait and switching people for the non-cancellation for a car that Tesla canceled. Is it true that Model 3 and Y will record to see if you're really driving an autopilot? Yes. Right now, the only thing they're looking for is if you're on your phone. So if you're looking down and on your phone, and you can see the phone in your hand, then it's going to ask you to touch the wheel like twice as often. But who knows what's going to happen in the next software update? They're trying to dial it in, so it's just right. Good afternoon, Omar.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yep.
Or good morning for some of us.
Yes, we did. Yeah, it is morning for Stephanie. we talked about opening the supercharger network and Giga Berlin getting their equipment for making the 4680s. And that's in Norway that they might open it up just because they're taking in some public funds.
Well, I mean, they said in the past before that they were willing to open up their network to partner up with if anybody wanted to partner up with them. Nobody's taking them up on their offer, but
Publicly, correct.
I'm sure that that's still an open option. So it would make sense. If I was an EV manufacturer right now, I would want to take full advantage of that and talk to them about a partnership, which I'm sure would cost. You got to pay in because they're not just. I mean, they're investing a lot of money into expanding that network.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if more manufacturers jump on board with that, it can expand the network quicker. There's more funds going in, and it makes sense. It would be good for everybody.
Absolutely.
Except for maybe where there's a high concentration of Tesla owners already.
Like Southern California.
Yeah, it creates huge wait times.
Well, that's why they would have to expand.
Yeah, if they keep up with the demand, that would be all right.
As long as they continue to expand and make more and more chargers, it would be okay to keep up with that extra demand of not just Tesla owners, but now, let's say, Ford Mach-E's or whatever it is.
Yeah, if they leave it as is, that would be unfortunate. But I'm assuming that when they open it, they would also put in, using the same logic they do when they put in enough, at the end of the quarter, they sell more cars, they put in more chargers. Hopefully this would be the same situation. So Will is asking if there's an actual camera. Yes. Right above?
Yes, it's an actual camera. I assume you're talking about the camera inside the vehicle that faces the driver for autopilot purposes. Yes, it's an actual camera. It can see the driver, can see what you're actually doing. And it uses artificial intelligence to determine whether or not you're alert or paying attention. And eventually, they're going to utilize that so they can take away the nagging of the OEM, put more torque on the wheel. So you don't have to keep torque on the wheel. They can just visually confirm that you're paying attention.
Yep. Initially, they were just going to use that for the robotaxi fleet to make sure that if somebody trashed your car, they knew who did it. But after some folks were abusing autopilot, that's when they decided to take advantage of the hardware already in the cars. Zach says Tesla should take advantage of the upcoming tax credits for charging stations. It should be relatively cheap to add more chargers next to the regular. Exactly. I mean, that's free money. Why not take it? It's free money to advance the mission.
Now, just going back to the camera for 1 second, I wish they would incorporate the inside camera with Sentry mode as well.
Yeah.
Because somebody breaks into the Tesla, wants to steal stuff out of it or whatever.
Stuff.
Not only grab the outside cameras, but to grab the inside camera would be helpful as well.
Yeah, get a good clear shot of the face. I'd also like to see them put the B-pillar cameras in. If you have a fast enough drive, just put all the cameras in. Or if you have a slower drive, just put the ones where the car is seeing motion, whatever's triggering Sentry mode, because it knows why it turned on Sentry mode. So just turn on the cameras up to 4 that made it mad, and I think it might be more useful. Are the nags going away? If I'm a good boy, always looking ahead. At the moment, no, but in the future, yes. That's the plan. $11 plus VAT, 20%. Oh my goodness, that's definitely expensive for one British gallon or US gallon.
Wait, $11 for a gallon of gas? Is that what it is?
That's what I'm interpreting it as.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's high.
Hi, Elijah. The Model S and Model X, not until 2021. So the new ones with the yoke square wheel, they do have the camera, but like my car, does not. I hope that they add it when they give the option for the robotaxi, or if it means that you can not have to touch the wheel, then I'd want it. Yeah, exactly. It'd be awesome for Sentry mode. All right, so let's see. The next article I think is pretty cool. I almost hit the wrong button there. That would have been really bad. Share. All right, so the Boring Company is talking about expanding their tunnels so that they're wider for freight. So we're talking large enough for shipping crates to make their way through. That way they can take advantage of, the global freight market. That would be really cool stuff, I think. What do y'all
So if
think?
they can get that approved, and if they can get the wider tunnels going, I think that would be very lucrative for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they could also then make it easier for them to create that 16 passenger vehicle if they choose to. I don't think it'll be wide enough to fit
My
a subway.
question is,
Go ahead.
what is is there really a delay for any cargo being shipped on trains through cities? I know that the main idea for Boring Company was to alleviate vehicle traffic, but I don't think trains really get backed up, do they? Or
I think
I'm
Not
trains
so
are
much
cause a
trains,
lot
but
of it.
there's
Yeah.
I know here in the U.S. a lot of stuff gets shipped by truck.
Yeah.
So we don't.
yeah,
Unfortunately, our train infrastructure is not as good as like in Europe and a lot of other places. So we do a lot of shipping via truck, and trucks are, of course, subject to traffic. And not only that, right now the trucking industry is a large producer of pollutants because they're all diesel.
Yeah. And then there's the other bit that right now the truckers are also subject to requirements for their operating hours, and so if you can knock out their pollution and I don't know necessarily make it a train, but automate, electrify. You can. There was that same episode of Transport Evolved. They pointed out there was an automated truck that delivered milk, and it delivered the milk overnight in a trip that would have taken 2 days for a trucker to comply with the requirements because they they have to stop and sleep and take their breaks and stop for the night. And the only other way a trucker team could have done it would have been a driver team, and they still would have lost by about 4 hours or so because if they only had 2 people, then they still would have had to go down for the night, and the computer didn't have to do that. Tesla should sell superchargers to individuals wanting to stall their business for profit. Like Tesla can get a franchise fee and let entrepreneurs go for profit and price competition. Perhaps the few places that do have them, it's alleged that they were used units at 60 kilowatt max, and they were around $200,000. So it's not impossible, but right now it's easier just to get your name in the list as a supercharger host. But that would be an option.
I don't know if it would be if the cost would balance out to actual profit. I mean, I think it would your return on your investment probably take a really long time to. I mean, because they're very expensive as far as installing them and such.
Yeah.
So I think the better route is just to partner with Tesla and just have them on site, and then because they're on site, Tesla owners are going to stop there, and while they're there, they can visit your business, and you'll make money off of your business. I mean, that's how most gas stations make their money now. They don't make a ton of profit off of the actual gas itself. They make most of their profit from the little store attached to it.
Absolutely. And then we had folks like the Warsaw Supercharger. It's gone now, but you can see my video where it was still open, but they took it off the map and they were steering people around it because the business that was hosting it was sold. And the new business didn't understand that when you buy a business with active contracts, you have to honor the contracts. And they were really upset about Tesla owners coming into their motel and trying to use the bathroom and buy snacks. And they got really hostile to the owners. And so Tesla said, all right, fine, we're going to keep our part of the agreement, but we're not going to send you any customers. And they pulled it off the map. And then once their contract was gone, they just ripped out their equipment, the supercharger cabinets and the supercharger pedestals. They left the concrete pad, they left the fence. It looks like garbage, but I'm sure they would have cleaned it up if they were nice and a good partner about it. But they did the bare minimum when it came time to pull out because why should they
See,
be
if
gracious
they
on
were
these
smart,
things?
what they would have done, if they were upset about the cost of electricity or whatever, I don't know what their main gripe was, but if they
I
were
think Tesla was
smart,
paying for electricity there.
But
And
doesn't
some
yeah, then it made no sense.
Yes, some hosts do pay for electricity, but very few.
doesn't it seem consistent with Tesla's overall business model? Like, you need us more than we need you. you don't like it, you'll go somewhere else. Like, it kind of seems like,
Well, they had a contract though.
They had a contract, and
when
it
the
was
place
great until
bought the
they sold the place.
When the place, right, and everything was fine until the place was sold, and then the new owners didn't want to honor the contract that Tesla had with the old owners. So, I mean, I can understand on this one.
Yeah.
but I mean, I guess I don't see them in any situations like coming at a problem in a diplomatic way to make like concessions to accommodate.
I can see the desire for them to do it, like be the bigger person of it. But when this people are chasing your customers out with sticks, yeah, I would prefer they side with us than side with the contract holder.
Yeah, in this case, instead of signing with the business owner, they were siding with their customers. So
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
respect
that would be
that.
logical, Andy.
Hey guys, I got to jump off.
Okay. Have a good
But
ride.
thanks for having me,
Take
Casey.
care.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll see you soon.
Be safe.
Got to go to work. Bye bye.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
All right. So Andy says that gas stations are a huge capital expense. Absolutely. I think that's the reason we don't see more hydrogen stations, because they're like 10 times what you find with a gasoline station. There's no reason a supercharger should be that costly. Well, when you look at a regular DC fast charger, not a supercharger, they can get up to $300,000 for an install for the upgrades that you need to make to the electrical service. The equipment itself is a minimum of 50 grand for most cabinets. Usually it's around 100 grand for just a 1 or 2 stall setup. And then you've got labor and permitting. Oh man, permitting slows you down. That's what happened with North Charleston, South Carolina supercharger. They kept finding sites and getting it approved, and then all of a sudden, magically, the permits weren't working or the host was backing out. What we think was happening there, allegedly, we're alleging that the dealership groups there were applying pressure, and either to the hosts or to the inspectors, and making it fail or making them back out. And so eventually, they ended up at the Middle Metro. Yay! Morning, Cooper told you.
And like you were saying, so it could cost up to upwards of 100 grand just for one stall.
Yeah.
It's just installing one stall. And
Yeah.
as we know, Tesla never installs one stall at the superchargers. You're looking at 8 or more at most places, right?
Yeah,
at minimum 8, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah, it can get costly.
Yeah. And now they come on the pallets straight from New York. They come on a pallet of 4 supercharger pedestals and 1 V3 cabinet, and they can just hoist them in place. So they're working on dropping their own price, but the competitors, there's nothing you can do about it because they come piecemeal like the superchargers used to come. The only difference with them and the superchargers, most of them don't have a separate cabinet and charger. They're all in one, but some of them actually do have separate cabinets, which I think is a good way to speed the install, because you can get part of it done ahead of time. And if some jerk runs it over with a pickup truck, it's not completely out of business.
Andy, that's great that you could build a converter, but an inverter. I'm sorry, but then you still have all the other components to go along with it, all the other safety features and stuff that have to be built into it. The fact that most of the time you have to do upgrades to the service coming from the grid in order to handle the load. So there's all these different things that have to be done that end up boosting the cost higher and higher. Plus, you're paying contractors to do the work. I mean, labor is not free.
And then you have to overbuild it. I mean, in the case of the third parties, you got a warranty. And Tesla obviously doesn't have to worry about their own warranty, but you do have to overbuild it to make sure that that your failure rate is acceptable. But like you said, there's definitely markup in there, but most of it's in the labor and the permitting, and then upgrading the site service, because for some reason the electric companies don't really want to help in this. They just do the bare minimum. You would think that they would be glad to make more money from selling more product, but they don't seem to see it that way for some reason. The 200K inverter for about $8,000. Yeah, it's not that costly, but they got to make it safe. They got to make it mass producible. They gotta get everything in there to make it stand up. That's what a lot of site owners are reporting they spent. I don't know. I mean, yeah, like you said, it can be done cheaper, but that's what they're reporting, and I can't say, hey, you need to pay less, because if you get in the way, then you end up with no charger, or somebody else coming at you for interfering with their business. Especially if you don't have something to sell them on your own side of it all.
I'm sure a lot of the cost is labor, but
yeah, I agree. It shouldn't cost more of the gas pump, but it does.
And usually they have the trench and all that other stuff. Well, gas pumps aren't cheap either.
No, they're not. A gas station install, I think they said it's like $200,000 for a small one, something like that. Then you've got your permits on that one as well, because you got to do the environmental surveys, you got to do the digging. And, oh man, it's yeah. I agree. That's not the cost. That's the installed price. So somebody's making money somewhere along the way, but it's not the business owner who wants the supercharger or the DC fast charger. It is what it is. But what we could do is, if you want, you can get into business and sell them. And I'm sure if you just undercut them by even $20,000, you'll make a killing, and everybody wins. And then the other guys have to bring their price down, or you can steer them out of business. Eat their lunch.
Take their business.
Exactly. So Tesla
no free
owner
lunches.
Right? Tesla
But I
owners
get free hugs like a cactus.
Free hugs like a cactus. Ooh. So Tesla Owners Online is reporting about the graffiti competition at Gigafactory Berlin, and they have some really pretty pictures. I guess I can scroll them through. Let's do that. It's not like I'm sharing them on my social media as if I did it. So here's a few examples they came up with.
I think that's awesome that they're want to do graffiti art on a gigafactory in Berlin, just to have that community involvement and have that home type feel to it.
Yeah, I just hope that they pick stuff like this or whatever it is that doesn't imply to people that they should also tag the building when they go by. Let them know.
Oh yeah, don't give the haters more of a
paid
reason.
work. Exactly. Okay. Sorry, I hit the wrong button again.
That red Y is pretty though.
It's beautiful, isn't it? So Elon says that it looks like a scene from Dexter after they get done with red paint day, because it goes through in 3 layers. You got the primer, you got the red, and then when you put the clear on, you actually put red flake in the clear, so it's a deeper red than typical.
It's really pretty.
Yeah. And then so Andrew Karpathy was doing a presentation where he was basically not job hunting for himself, but like he was recruiting, trying to get folks to come to Tesla for AI. And so they went over their current supercharger, or their current supercomputer that here are the specs. It's powerful. 720 nodes of A100s at 80 gigabytes.
Hey, Chase!
Huh? Oh.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I stopped the video to scream at my son, but I didn't mute it.
It's all right. So their current computer is the 5th most powerful in the world. And a couple of people checked the numbers because the math Tesla was using to say of how they did it was a little bit sketch. And when you convert the numbers to the actual industry accepted numbers, it still ends up being the 5th for the people who did the math. And everybody cuts off the end of this where it says next up JoJo. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why they cut it off. Some people even call this Dojo. This is not Dojo. This is father of Dojo. So if this is 5th most powerful in the world, where will Dojo be? That's going to be phenomenal, I think. Windows 11. Yeah. Windows 11's coming out. I'm excited for it. I found out that my computer does actually have a TPM chip in it.
I heard Windows
Even though they
11
didn't
is
tell
going to
us.
run Android apps.
It will run Android apps, and that's going to be cool. Unfortunately, it won't run them from the Play Store. It's going to run them from the Amazon Android store.
Ouch.
It's not so bad. I think they have like 90%
Well,
of the apps, so it's not
they have
terrible.
most of them.
Yeah,
It's all right. You just have to get the APK
yeah,
side loaded on there. It's fine.
right. So Teslarati described this as Tesla details its self-driving computer that will bring the Dojo era. But as we saw, it was actually Andrew Karpathy and Andre Karpathy, and he was saying how it works today, and he was explaining why they don't need radar. He did the example of the current radar when they put the car on the Tesla racetrack and they had it follow another Tesla, and they commanded that Tesla brake as hard as you can. The car with the radar that was following lost track of the lead car 5 times, and so each time it would react as if this car was just appearing and disappearing in front of it, which could be the difference between a collision and a safe stop should there be an event that this is either a safety event or somebody is just trying to brake check you. And
Well, if you remember those accidents that occurred when there was a stopped object in front of it, like a tractor trailer that's turned over, or an emergency vehicle that's just stopped there. Those accidents occurred in the vehicles that had the radar in them.
right, yeah.
So now, if it's relying purely on vision, maybe it can interpret the data better.
It's great that you mentioned that, because one of the examples he gave was that exact scenario where they put they said it was a closed course, but it didn't look like the Tesla track, so it might have been somewhere else that they were testing this, like Arizona or something, Nevada. They put a tractor trailer halfway in the road and stopped it. There were no lights, no nothing, and then it had a little extra stuff hanging off the crash bar on the rear of the trailer. And they showed that both cars did see the truck, and they both stopped. But the vision-only car saw it from 210 meters out, while the radar-only car saw it at, I think, 125, 150 meters. And then it didn't stop until it was really close to the truck, whereas the vision car started stopping sooner, and then their braking curves lined up towards the end. But as a driver, I'd feel more comfortable with it stopping sooner for something that's stopped in the road. Like today, I was dropping Luna off at work. There were these young men walking on the road, and I was in. I'm not in the city streets beta, but I was using auto steer on the streets, and the car identified the humans, and it started cutting speed aggressively. Not enough that it locked up our seatbelts or anything, but it's like, I don't know why these people are on this 50-mile-an-hour road. I'm going to stop and figure it out. I imagine if I was on city streets beta, it might have gone around them because there was space in the lane next to me. But if you're not in the beta, it's not allowed to change lanes off of the highway, or at least off of a Super 2 highway, without me commanding it to do so. So it did the right thing, which was slow down and not hit the young men. And then I took the wheel and steered around them and turned it right back on.
That's why you have to pay attention.
Yes. There was another one where we were in that. The car put me back on the highway for the last little section because it was actually faster because everybody was routing around this traffic. And I was on the highway for one exit, and then somebody else wanted to come on the highway, and they were trying to pass me on the right on the shoulder to get in, even though the person behind me was letting them in. They didn't want to get behind me. They wanted to get in front of me. And I didn't touch anything in the car. My car's a jerk. It just kept rolling, and then when it saw that they were worse of a jerk, it tapped the brakes for just a second, let them in without having a collision. And
you in Mad Max mode?
I am in Mad Max mode all the time.
Well, there you go. That's why.
Yes. Saw the road where a tractor trailer Model S runs the back of a blind bend. Yes. There are a few that are tough for it to handle, and I find that the car is actually getting better at predicting insanity. I have millions of miles under my belt, and There was a couple of years ago, I was driving to lunch with some friends, and I pointed at a Jeep and said he's going to do something stupid. And then 3 seconds later, he did. And they said, "How did you know?" I said, "I don't know. It's just intuition. I've seen so many bad drivers. Something said that he was driving straight. There was no indication that anything untoward was going to happen. And the next you know, the guy cuts in front of us and slams on the brakes. And they're like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, I don't know. But the point of that is that 2 days ago, there was another situation where I was about to take over because I could tell that the person was about to pull a maneuver, and the car lit them up on my screen, and then it turned them red before they even left their lane. Like, it gave me the collision warning. And I was like, wow, this car knows that person is a genius as well. And, and since it saw them, all I had to do was just be ready to take over because it had already done everything correctly. But there are other times like where it avoids debris in the road, and there are other times where it runs through every pothole and manhole cover and tries to hit debris. So
It's funny. I saw a meme on Twitter,
yeah,
and it showed. I forget, they were comparing in some place where there's a lot of potholes, and they said, "Oh, this is how a drunk driver drives versus a sober driver," and they showed a straight line. The person driving a straight line is the drunk driver, hitting every pothole and everything, and the sober driver is going like this, avoiding all the potholes.
exactly.
So they look like they're drunk, but that's the sober person.
Yeah. Hi, Ape Cinema. They have a Model 3, and their wife has a Model Y. Congratulations.
Nice.
Awesome. Those are good choices. Do we think the EV credits are coming back?
Eventually.
If depends on how they do it. The politics are getting weird right now. I mean, they have been weird for a while, but we've got a guy who says his job is to block everything no matter what. So we'll see.
I think it'll
What
come
happens.
back. It's just a matter of what form and how they're going to.
Yeah, if they do it as a budget thing,
what the
then
wording's
it'll
gonna
be
be.
easy. If they do it as any other law, that's going to be a fight. But we got Juneteenth passed, and that was unanimous through the guy who said he was going to block everything. So
So clearly they can agree on some things.
some things.
I think it's pretty much like a done deal that it'll come back. Not necessarily the way that it's written from the committee right now. Like, I mean, I genuinely can't find the rationale other than, like for the union. The union made shops to get preference. If it's just about energy and sustainability and moving towards zero carbon emissions, like union shops have nothing to do with that, and you're going
Right.
to essentially like isolate people in states that don't
Are
have
anti-union, yeah.
have the same like incentives for voting for that.
Right.
And it's a lot of money, but I mean they'll absolutely come back. I think.
Yeah.
I hope that the way that it's written right now gives me hope because they have that effective May whatever date. And so
Yeah.
if it is retroactive for the people that have bought after whatever that was, May 26th, or was it April or May, sometime whenever that was.
I think it was like May 15th, May 27th, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great, but I also kind of feel like if you've already purchased, you don't need that extra, like, incentive to buy it. But
It would be nice to have.
it will, and then you don't penalize people that were doing
the right thing.
Yeah, like without the incentive. So I think they'll come back, and I mean, if they wanted to do it, like trying to do it bipartisan, I think is what the hiccup is. But if they want to just push it through, they can.
But if they do it with both teams, then it's a lot harder for one side to feel bad. It's like, hey, this is what we agreed to.
Feel bad. Like, sorry.
So the thing about the unions, the on the Tesla side, there's this big story about how Tesla's blocking unions, blah blah blah. Tesla has unions in Germany and Michigan And I think the whole situation that they need to realize is that Musk isn't even against unions. He doesn't want the UAW in his shop, and that's because the UAW is the ones that left Fremont in the first place. They left them out so they could protect the base. They're like, hey, you guys are the sacrificial lambs. Bye. And and, and this is when they were a Toyota and GM shop. And it's like, hey, these guys already left you. Do you want them to do it again? And then on top of that, their mission right now is to put Tesla out of business. They're protecting engine shops. They're protecting transmission shops. They're protecting, all the stuff that Tesla doesn't need. So their goal is to put you out of business if they succeed in what they're trying to do.
Is it put them out of business, or is it protect their own interests?
Right, but I mean, why do you want to be a part of somebody who's supposed to be protecting your interests and you don't have any of their interests, so they're going to leave you out to go again when they left you out to go when you were already had an engine shop and a paint shop and a transmission shop?
Yeah.
Another question, totally different direction. At least where I live, not many black people drive EVs. How can we do a better job of promoting EV cars in the minority community? It's a great question. This is a discussion we have like every week. We're working on it. The best thing to do is just be out there and be seen and to promote
and help educate people. I mean,
exactly.
I try. I've been advocating for years. As long as I've been driving an EV.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I do is I participate and I show up. So I'm at the Earth Day events, and I'm at the the Drive Electric Weeks, and I'm at the different EV meetup with the different EV clubs and groups and stuff that exist, so that I'm seen. And a lot of times I may be the only person of color there, or the only black person there, but I'm or one of few that are there. But the fact that I'm there is helpful to promote others and say, hey, you could do it too, or.
And then go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think the other thing also is be active, not only just in the people that you know, but contact your state legislators, contact your, your elected officials, and let them know, we want charging stations in predominantly minority neighborhoods. There has to be investment in educating people that, number one, those cars are obviously better for the environment, and given the impacts on our communities, we need that investment. But it's also just the cost of ownership is so much less. Black people spend money on cars.
Yeah, we do.
That's Cadillac. We spend money on cars. I think that it's just whether if you have the ability to charge, whether at your home, you have a garage, you can put, a charger in, or you have access to one, or just the familiarity because people either don't have one or they have one. So I would say make sure that you're advocating in your community for the investment in the infrastructure, but then also just like Omar was saying, be active. If you're at a charging station and you see another black person and they're kind of eyeing it, oh, what's that about? Talk to them. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another thing I do all the time.
Yeah, the three of us.
Conversation.
Absolutely. The three of us just recently testified to EPA. There were over 150 speakers, and there were 5 black people. We were 4 of them, and there were a lot of people talking for us. But it's nice to hear from us, not just for us. Used Nissan Leafs are very good ideas, but the Model 3 only costs $38,000 if you don't do the timeshare pitch and get the $35,000 model. So it's the same as a Camry or an Accord. So it's not like we can't afford cars. We may live in areas that don't have garages, so that's a little harder. And we may live on, because of the historical redlining and stuff, it may be harder for us to get them charged and everything like that. But it doesn't mean we can't get the car. And so for them to know that we are out there and that we want them, and then we also have to let our peers know. My family for the longest time thought that Teslas were $100,000, and now they finally see that no, they are not. And my sister still says, "Oh, these things can't take long drives." While I'm in the middle of a 1,000-mile trip, it's like I didn't just snap my fingers and teleport here.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I do. I do a lot of road trips, and then when I do, I share photos with a lot of my friends and family and everybody that, hey, here I am charging up in Florida. Here I am charging up in North Carolina. Here I am charging up in Canada. Here I am over here. I'm in Chicago and I'm over there. And it's like, it's the same car.
Yeah.
You know, it's pictures of me and the car, right? It's
Yeah.
not some magic trick, some voodoo. It's not, oh yeah, he flew over there and rented a car that looks similar. No, this is me in my same car.
Right. And a lot of us like to customize our cars. And so now that the Model 3 and Model Y are more popular, we're starting to see more mods for our cars that we can make them our own. Whereas when the Model S was out by itself, there were not that many mods you could do. You change the wheels, and then everything else you had to like hand make. And so, like,
And that's why a whole lot of people got custom license plates.
Oh yes, yes. I see so
Like
many
me.
of us here in the DC area, but as I travel outside of the DC area, it doesn't always look like us. And so, whenever somebody says it can't be done, I'm like, look in the driveway. It can be done. It doesn't have to be that. It can be, look at the as you mentioned, the Cadillac. The Lyric is beautiful. Look at the Ford Lightning. Look at the Kia Niro. That's, I mean, I would probably get a Model 3 over that, but if for some reason you got something against Tesla, you can get the Kia Niro. You can get the Bolt. I mean, there's so many choices out there, and we just need to raise awareness and share with everybody out there.
And join groups online
Yes.
that are focused on that.
I don't think of black people in the minority. I just think of people considered minority Welsh. There was only 1.5 million before. Yeah. I mean, not just people of color. I mean, that's easier for us because that's our experience. We live it. But any minority, like, they need to. We're all in this together right now. The air is not getting any cleaner. The climate is getting more extreme. And yes, you can say that, it's not all our fault. Volcanoes, blah blah blah, comets, whatever. But there's no denying that we're not doing our part to help minimize our impact, and we need to.
Steph, I heard that you guys had record high temperatures in your neck of the woods.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I just had an update on my phone for all-time high. Dangerous heat conditions. It was, I want to say it was 110 yesterday. It's supposed to be 115 today in the city.
That's insane.
And a lot of people don't have air conditioners.
Well, and I was going to say, that is the most, like, if this was, I live
dangerous.
I live in Portland, Oregon, just for people. But if this was somewhere like DC or New York or LA, where they frequently get hot, really hot weather, I don't think it would be as bad. But we've had such like it's been a moderate climate here for forever, pretty much until the last maybe 10 years. But a lot of people still haven't, like, if you have an older house, they haven't upgraded. And so that they were saying before we left town, they were saying that like it's like there's a really high percentage of the people in the city that don't have air conditioning, and I cannot imagine. And the problem is that it doesn't get cool at night. Like, it stays really hot. And so people just aren't used to it. Like, I left the East Coast because it was way too hot in the summer. People were dying. It was way too cold in the winter. People were dying. And I was like, moderate weather, no weather-related deaths. And here we are, like 115. I haven't even checked to see what it is today. But,
a lot of people.
It's like 73 right now. It's nice. And,
But that's just because you got the ocean right behind you there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I'll be back tomorrow.
Oh man! But a lot of folks do have swamp coolers, but those only work till like 80, 85 degrees, and after that they actually make it worse because they're adding humidity.
Yeah, and running your AC is actually terrible for the environment.
Oh, it is. Absolutely, it
is. It's so I try to not have it on as much as I can, but
our systems can only handle so much internally. I mean.
Yeah. Well, and then like they were talking about like the power outages, and I was like, "Ooh, I wish I had a power wall."
Yeah.
But I am like, it is really ridiculous when you think about just how much everything that we're doing is affecting impacting everyone else, and that the people that can, like, I'm very blessed in the fact that I can leave town and, you know, go stay somewhere else when I'm like, oh, the city is too hot, or run the AC. Like, we are collectively making decisions that impact everyone, and not everyone has the ability to, you know, turn the air on and not only just have air, but afford to pay that bill next month when it comes. And you can run 24 hours a day. So
yeah, I remember when Elon was doing that interview in Australia, and the interviewer asked him, you know, it's like, hey, what do you tell people who have to choose between dying of heat or dying of starvation? And he started crying, and he's like, hey, you know, we'll work harder. I mean, he's an eccentric dude, yes, and now we know, you know, part of it's his autism, but I mean, it's not that he doesn't care. I mean, people are like, oh, like he's doing things that make him rich because they're things that need to be done, and so there's a market. That's what's making him rich. It's not that he doesn't care. I mean, we see time and again, this guy cares so much for children. He cares so much for the environment, and it's not just him. I mean, all of us have a part to do in this. And yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I got solar, was because,
right, same.
You know, I know I'm going to run my AC all summer long, and I'm going to use up a lot of power.
Yeah, and it feels great to know that you can run your AC at max and then still have enough to help somebody else's consumption be offset, which is, it's great. Right. I mean, in the middle of the summer, I'm getting negative bills, but my air is set to like 68. I mean, it's not usually that low because my wife gets cold.
Get that solar referral, Omar.
Yeah. Either one of us use our codes for solar referral. You get money off your system, which is nice because we all love saving money. Like Omar says, if it's free, it's for me.
That's right. That's my motto. It's free, it's for me.
Andy says he works with the electric utilities, and he thinks they're becoming big supporters of EVs. They see moving transportation to the grids as a huge profit opportunity. That's great because when they first started, a lot of them, I guess, I don't know if it's old school thinking or what, but it's good to see them coming around. And like you said, it's a huge profit opportunity. I mean, why give that money to folks overseas who want to kill us for their oil, or use our money that we're paying them for oil to then launch rockets at us, when, you know, we could leave it at home? I see so many utilities installing acres and acres of solar, or, you know, giving money to folks like me and Omar to use a portion of our extra power. And I think that's the way to go. The least impact we can put is the better.
I have an overcast day today. It's a little bit cloudy, a little bit sunny. It's kind of a little overcast. And right this second, it's pretty warm outside. My air conditioning is running full blast, but my my solar is taking care of most of the needs for my house. And I'm currently kicking out 2.6 kilowatts of solar. My house is using up 3.2 kilowatts total.
Nice.
So total from the grid, I'm pulling 0.6.
Nice.
Right now.
So my house makes enough for my tenant to use all the electricity they want, and then it also wipes out all the bill I get here. So I actually end up I pay here and I get a negative there, and it's the same utility, and then it comes out to zero.
Even it out. That's great. And for me, and this is kind of a cloudy day, so for me on a sunny day, I overproduce so much.
What's that, Steph?
Was that even factoring in the payment for the original installation? Like, are you, like, have you earned that back?
I only put 10 grand into my system because it had some panels on it when I bought it, and so it's a lot easier to expand what's already there than it is to get fresh solar. And I paid that off in a year, and I got my tax credits, and it was nice. I had a 0% 18-month bridge loan, so I used that money for something else, and then I paid it all off one time, and they're like, "Hey, it's a come and due. You owe us back interest." I'm like, "No, I don't. I've been ready for this."
Nice.
Yeah. Exactly. Get Tesla to sell superchargers at a reasonable price point.
The sun came from behind the cloud.
Exactly, Andy. That's it. Coming from behind the cloud. Yeah, look, 7.4.
So now the solar's heating the house and the grid.
And the grid. Nice. So Robert William, I'm not going to put that one on the screen just because of the sensitive word. But 200,000 of people doing that it's unfortunate, and we need to take more care and watch out for the vulnerable population. Roadside parking, yeah. This one wasn't even roadside parking. It was on a major 2-lane road. There was there was a sidewalk, but they weren't on it. The sidewalk was on the other side of the road, and it was a mess. Also part of the Tesla Club here in Indianapolis. Excellent. You can see my license plate. Shout out to my frat. Yeah. Did
Wait,
you hear about?
what's the plate say?
Yeah, what does your plate say, H Cinema?
What's
And
your,
Robert Williams says, did you hear about
what's your
them
frat?
putting? Did you hear about them putting green on the number plate? Yes. So a lot of folks are complaining about the new EV plate versus the old EV plate over in Europe, and especially the UK. I'm curious how it actually works out in the end, but I think it makes it easier to tell. Versus they had the little either it said EV or it had the little piece on the side, and now the numbers are green. Choice is always good. Yep. AC is broken. 26C at 100%. Yeah, 100% humidity is not good, bro. Yeah, I mean, I know you got fans and stuff, but I mean, that's hopefully you got one of the portables or something, because you got to do something about that. That's not safe. AC is 12 kilowatt. Yeah, it's expensive. Butterfly effect. Yeah, exactly. A lot of small inputs add up to make a much bigger situation. NC is second to CA in solar because of Duke's adoption of solar. Exactly, yes. Like whenever I drive through North Carolina, I am always seeing just fields of solar. Some of them are next to the highway. Some of them are just out randomly, and I love to see it. Now they're moving to grid batteries. No real plans for other generation. That's good. South Carolina is doing it differently. They're trying to stop us from having home solar so they can make the profit, and they're installing grid solar, and they're saying that, oh yeah, solar is unpredictable. We can't. They're ruining the grid. They're making it more expensive for you. And then it's like at the same time, your argument falls apart when you look and you see that they've just installed 3 acres of solar right next to all the homeowners, and in their case, it's greed, and like I said, again, that's old thinking, and they're trying to make back that $9 billion for that nuclear plant that they bought it and lost.
But that actually stabilizes the grid, makes it stronger.
They know that's why they're putting it in. They're just being
solar spread
bags.
out. You basically have a bunch of microgrids that actually makes the grid more stable.
Yeah, because if somebody crashes a car into a solar field versus somebody crashing a car into somebody's house. But
right, and instead of transporting electricity across really long distances, now it's more
right. They were saying that made it hard.
Better.
Right. Their argument was that because of me, now they have to beef up the grid. It's like, no, you don't. You actually have less work now because the sun is coming from my roof, running into my air conditioner, and running into my 2 neighbors' air conditioners. If they're running the AC and I'm putting out that much power, then there's no need for it to actually go anywhere. So. Move Kappa.
Oh, Kappa. Okay. Right. I got a couple family.
Sorry, I'm not trying to cut them off. It's we got lag here. We're all over the country. There's a little bit of lag. I mean, it's my name on the thing.
What is his show? He's the host. He can do
He said it's my show. I'm gonna talk over people if I want.
I try not to be rude about it. All right, so we were talking about AI. We talked next about SpaceX is installing the parts of the tower to catch the first Starship boosters, which I saw a little bit of it in somebody's video, and this thing is going to be impressive if it works. And you've got something that's like the tallest structure for miles around catching a flying building falling from the sky. What do y'all think about Starship?
I mean, it's too early. I can't say too much yet, other than, I mean, they're making good progress, but it's still early. I got to see where this goes.
Yeah.
But we need it to be successful if we're going to be multiplanetary. Starship has to be successful. Yeah. It's the only way we're going to get to Mars.
Exactly. Dan,
moon bases and everything else.
Yeah, moon base, Mars base. It's not Duke in this case that's fighting me. It's actually Dominion, South Carolina. Duke is the one installing all the panels. I do not agree. Renewables have no value without storage. Right. We need either storage or transmission. And since we're not doing high voltage DC transmission on any scale yet, and we don't have like intercontinental grid, you're right. We need to be able to store it in order to get the most use out of it. Solar's not dependable, and the peakers must instantly make it in Slack. Solar, yeah. But the onesie twosie homeowners, the amount of deployed solar they have there is like my neighborhood has maybe 6 or 8 installations, and we're not making a major impact on the situation like they're accusing us of doing. Their 3 acres of solar is making a much larger impact on their situation than we are doing. Yeah, we do have LinkedIn. Mine's my name, Casey Green. When it gets stable, I'll love it. Yes. All right, so you guys didn't have a lot to say about Starship. That's fine. GM is bringing the Ultium battery tech to trains and hydrogen planes, they claim. More batteries? Good. We need more storage. As we were just talking about with Andy.
So, wait, to trains?
Trains and hydrogen planes.
Hydrogen planes.
Mm-hmm.
Why hydrogen, though?
Hydrogen on planes actually makes sense because...
That's interesting. I mean, I guess for the long
batteries
range...
are heavy.
Batteries are heavy.
Yeah.
Planes can... Well, it can be done with batteries, but...
We've seen it done. We've got the seaplanes, and then we've got that sport plane that Siemens was running that burnt up.
And I've seen a vertical takeoff plane that's supposed to be launching in 2 years. It's supposed to be for private transport.
The human-sized drones. That's the
basically
carrier.
Well, it's vertical takeoff, but it's actually a plane, so it takes off vertically, and then the rotors turn.
Like that one that NASA was showing.
There was a design. Let me see if I can find that advertisement. It was. I'm trying to remember where I found that. Where I saw it at.
So is GM's plant open yet? Or are they currently buying other people's stuff and repackaging it as Ultium? I don't know.
So I don't know if GM is... I think they're partnered up with somebody and then they're using their name. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's only a few of us spelled this way, Dan. There's me, and then there's a couple of adult entertainers, and then there's a couple football players. So you won't see me stripping, and I don't play football, so.
I love that. That is so. Casey Green they're strippers.
There are a couple adult entertainers, 2 football players, and me, and then a couple little girls on Facebook, but they don't ever post anything, so. Not that I'm looking, it's just like when you find yourself, it's like, oh, wait, that's not me.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's great.
So while you look for that, I'm going to expand something out here. Not that way. Okay, so apparently I can't make it bigger. It's got music.
Oh, while you're looking for that, so Omar, don't be jealous, but you know how I was saying on Friday how Tesla called me like day of, like, hey, come get it. Well, then they called me and they said, don't worry, you don't even have to be home. We'll just leave it in the
drop it in your driveway.
And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, oh, we'll give you a FedEx. You don't have to be there. If you're out of town for a week, it'll just be there in your driveway. No worries. And I'm like, I'm not okay with that. Like, this is crazy. And so they extended it
good.
to July 6th. So don't be jealous, though, because didn't you just want any date in July?
So I kind of actually wanted to push it back to the later part of July anyway.
Oh,
You can get that tax credit.
My state still didn't approve their thing yet. They still don't know what they're doing. So I'm trying to wait to see if I can get that state credit. So,
yeah. Well, and that's what, $7,000.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. We got to wait and see what it's going to be. So that's the thing.
Yeah, but I was thinking yours was just July 1st, and that somehow in there.
No, it's just I know the fiscal year starts for my state July 1st.
Okay.
But like last time they didn't approve it until the middle of the month, so it didn't actually kick in, and they didn't actually have it. They didn't backdate it to the 1st, so they didn't actually have it kicked in until like the 20th or something like that, whatever it was.
Right.
So that's why I'm just trying to see what the official word is going to be first, and see what they put on paper before I take it.
Yeah. That
There
I
you
mean,
go.
that makes sense. If I could get the thing back for waiting a couple of weeks, I certainly would.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a matter of I can get the car a couple weeks earlier or save thousands of dollars, I mean,
Right?
it's kind of like I already have a car. It's not like I'm desperate.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's awesome. But wait, isn't the Y for your wife?
well, no. Well, yes. Yes and no. So,
Oh, she's watching.
so this is how this is going to work. It's for me right now, and it's going to be my car. Eventually, when the Cybertruck comes out, I'm getting that. And when I get the Cybertruck, then I'm going to give her my Y.
Okay.
That's how
All
that's going to work.
Or,
You're gonna break it in.
Give her the Y, and then you wait until the Cybertruck comes out and have that.
Well, no, because I drive a lot more than she does. So,
Makes sense. I get it.
Trying to get him in trouble.
No, I was
Look at you instigating.
I know, right? It's like
Right?
just go with the plan. Just stop. Just go with the plan. Go with the plan. It's
Oh.
good. We got it all worked out already.
Oh,
That's super cool though. Wait, so then you'll be all Tesla family.
that's right.
Yes.
That's awesome. Aw.
So, speaking of superchargers, Tesla China has now completed the electric Silk Road. Let me mute this because you guys can't hear it anyway. And so it looks like a travel ad, and it's beautiful. And they're showing where you can go with this Model Y. They're just showing all of this beautiful areas that you can go visit in your Model Y because, well, it's going to be their best-selling car. They call it the Silk Route. And they go from east to
Model Y
west
is going to
China,
be their best-selling car. Period.
worldwide, especially in China and the U.S. And
It's just a
I don't
more
know.
popular form factor, I think, than the.
but
than
if
the
this is
S.
indicative, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
If this,
I mean,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
no. Well, the Model S and the X are a little higher price point. So the lower you are in price point, the more people can afford it, and the more people are going to buy it. And the Model 3 and the Model Y, if you look at the two, the Model Y is the more popular form factor than the Model 3. So that's why I think the Model Y is just going to be more popular. Just going to be their most popular vehicle until the Cybertruck, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But the Cybertruck is like, I don't think
Fair.
it's going to be more popular than the Y because the Y is just a good, like you can be, like I feel like it's a universally appealing format with like the lots of trunk space, like small SUV type. The Cybertruck is enough different, like it hasn't grown on me yet, and I honestly couldn't see like pulling up to carpool, like pick up at an elementary school, like okay kids, hop in, hop out, like.
Well, it may not be for you.
Cybertruck.
I think the Model Y worldwide will be Tesla's best-selling vehicle. But I think here in America, the Cybertruck will actually outdo the Model Y eventually because
If they don't change
here in
prices,
America, the pickup truck is the most popular vehicle. That form factor is just about the form factor. Pickup truck being the most popular vehicle in America, I can see the Cybertruck actually outpacing the Y eventually here in America.
So, but you think that even with the Lightning, because I feel like Tesla has some real competition with the Lightning for that pickup truck space, and there's not really at the price point that the Y is. There's not really competition for that small like.
Well, there is competition for the Y at that price point. Right now, you have the Mach-E, which is roughly the same size as the Y, and it's the same price point. So,
Volkswagen.
Not really though, because to get the range that you get in the Y, you have to go with the higher package on the Mach-E, and if Tesla gets the tax credit back, the Mach-E is going to be like the only reason why they're even comparable right now is because Ford has the credit and Tesla doesn't, but it's a lot more expensive to get like the equivalent kind of features. So I don't think that it seems like you have to pay a lot more for.
So yes, you get better value out of the Y. You definitely do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there's not a lot of people that want the other vehicle just because of the looks. It's different or whatever.
That's true.
So I think the same thing is going to hold true with the trucks. So when you look at the pickup truck, yes, the Ford Lightning is going to be a very popular pickup truck. There's other pickup trucks that are entering the market that may be popular as well, but that pickup truck market itself in the US is so humongous that there's enough space to have multiple different manufacturers making multiple different pickup trucks and still outpace that small crossover SUV. I don't know. I think they're going to be really close. I think they're as far as popularity, and it's just going to be a matter of how many can they produce, and can they produce the truck faster than the Y or the Y faster than the truck. I think that's going to be really the determining factor of how many they're going to be able to put out there for the next few years. I mean, eventually, that demand may slow down a little bit as more people have them, but for the short-term foreseeable future, I think the Y and the Cybertruck are going to be the two most popular that are going to be competing with which one sells the most.
Yeah, the as Breakneck Trent is pointing out, the Cybertruck is going to be high margin, very high margin, because it's going to be easy to manufacture, and there's plenty of room. The competition isn't other EVs. The competition is all the fossil cars, all the combustion cars that could be sold. And in the trucks right now, there are no electric trucks yet. This year, next year, there'll be 3 or 4 choices to pick from, and they'll all be able to just gobble up market share. And like the Ford's got the advantage in that they are already on the purchasing list for these fleets, and they look normal, so it's an easy sell, especially if you already have a fleet and you've got a Ford Tech in-house and you're buying hundreds of trucks, thousands of trucks. That's an easy sell. But at the same time, the Cybertruck actually is cheaper and more competitive. So if looks don't matter, then that's something for you to look at, especially if you're not loading from the side where the buttresses won't get in the way. And then you've also got all the folks who are looking at buying Cybertruck that aren't truck people, whereas the F-150 appeals to truck people. So there's plenty of room for everybody. I'd love to buy a Rect X back and convert it to pickup. Yeah, that would be fun. 750 horsepower.
I'd love to see that.
Awesome.
I would love to see that. I wouldn't want to try it, but I'd love to see it.
Trucklo's bigger brother.
Yeah.
So one thing I've stopped on here in the video is the Chinese Teslas have a Type 2 port and the Chinese port. Right here, the Chinese port and the Type 2. On the Model Y, they made room for the CCS port, and so they also made room for the 2 ports to fit under the flap, whereas on the Model S and Model X, it actually has like a regular fuel door in the side of the bodywork that flips out as powered. I thought that was unique. Good afternoon, Dan.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
Yeah, the leaves do cover my face when I'm in the sharing the.
Hey, sorry, I had it on mute. Want to get the sound out.
So here is their route. That is impressive. I mean, look at when they first covered the U.S. coast to coast, and when they first covered Canada coast to coast. This is the same approximate distance. It's incredible, and we need that worldwide.
That's going to be impressive.
It will.
Yes, just like the like when we were talking about the infrastructure and charging earlier.
Yep.
It's just as
Well, yeah,
more and
I
more
heard
people
something.
have the vehicles, you need more and more chargers to be out there and be available.
All right, let's see. So we've
I
got
think
some
that'd be
pictures.
the key set.
Yes. So we've got some spy
I like
shots
it. Okay, it's your show.
of the Giga Berlin with what appear to be painted Model Ys. As we heard, the Model Y plant in Berlin is going to be one of the most advanced paint shops in the world. So we can finally get past 5 colors. and this is what we've seen.
Are they going to be costing more because they got to be shipped back from Berlin, or just the frame? Like we see.
No,
there?
the Berlin cars are not leaving Europe. They might go to China, but that would be if China is overwhelmed. And then, like right now, the Chinese
Okay, well, that
Model
means-
3s and Model Ys are actually shipping all over Europe and Asia.
Okay, that means all the Berlin ones that come back through military.
Well, we've got
That's some way to
Texas
get
is going to be hailing the bulk of our Model Ys here. Like their whole point is they want
Not the
each
color
continent to
scheme,
service
right?
itself. What's that?
Will it be the color schemes?
Yeah, Texas is getting the same paint shop.
Oh, okay. Then it'll be sooner than later.
Texas and Berlin are going up side by side. It's a race to see who finishes first. Probably Texas. But as my bet with Patrick and Mark on the Tesla Life goes, I say that the next phase of China is going to beat them both. There's a lot less red tape. Well, there's a lot of red tape, but not the metaphorical red tape. All right, so then we had an article by Teslarati where Simon Alvarez went into how the fake news and misrepresentation spreads around the world and how very rare it is for retractions to happen. He found that that in the crash in Texas with the 2 elderly gentlemen who crashed just feet from one of their houses, that there was actually footage from the security cameras on the house that showed that the men were in the front seat at the time that the car took off, and the sheriff's department was sitting on it. They weren't letting it out, and they go into more examples of how all of these bad news with like whenever you see a Tesla crash, they always say, "Oh, we don't know if autopilot was on." Like even a car that doesn't even have autopilot, like literally does not have the equipment. Not a question of whether they bought it or not, like in this car, which they didn't buy it. And it goes into being a critical consumer of news. And let me see.
You say critical consumer.
I will put a link to the article in the chat here, so you guys can read it later. And I thought it was a really good article. It's not perfect, but he brings up a lot of good points, and we do need to be more critical when people present stuff to us. And I don't know, I thought it was a good article, especially to find out, like instantly we all knew that what the constable was saying was not how the car works, and then we had that senator who misunderstood when Tesla was helping them recreate the crash with the alternate car with the same configuration on the same street. And that car had autopilot, and they said, "Oh, autopilot was not able to be engaged." The senator said, "See, the car had autopilot, blah blah blah." And no, dude, no, you read the headline and got confused. That's not what the article said at all. That's not even what the headline said. You just read it backwards and ran with it. And
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
yeah, and that's basically what this article is about. and how
It's
quickly
going to
the bad
continue
news
up
spreads around.
until it's going to continue up until Tesla plays ball like the other manufacturers and just starts having lobbyists and stuff like that. Because we know there's always going to be a biased opinion. It's very hard to think critically and then gather all your sources or first-hand sources and then make a judgment. So unless you create your own news source and report it evenly, like I'm childish enough to report, there was an accident with two Toyotas and one had their cruise control on. Cruise control Toyota crashed into another one. Person was on their phone. Until you start to balance out the equation, it's going to be there. You might have to be childish to balance out the equation, but you're going to have to balance out the equation
Well,
and just
uh,
find random sources.
Elon said that they may start doing advertising finally, not sales advertising, but just like informational. And it's time. Their whole no advertising thing made sense when they were new, but now it's time to just stop being a silent punching bag. They need to show themselves.
I think the best way to do this is to do small small sponsorships, like the high top, all of the YouTube channels that do electric and stuff, and then even branch out to um, other YouTube channels like that do cyber stuff, Marcus, smaller channels that do geek stuff that we attach to, because if anybody knows Mask, that's a Model X. So the cartoon Mask. So that's a Model X. So once they start branching outside of their comfort zone and just do the sponsorships for the YouTube videos, it's an easy way to get straight to somebody's screen without having to advertise per se, the traditional advertisement.
I think that they have some folks that will know based on the analytics where to go, and they'll do a good job of it. But right now, just putting the content out there
Well,
is important, because right now they've got nothing. They're just a punching bag for any lies, misinformation, and skews and insinuation that like with the yoke wheel. Yeah, it's not perfect, but at the same time, it's not going to be killing people. It's not the worst thing ever. We've had square wheels before in the 50s. They weren't popular. But that's a preview of what's coming up later there. Hey, 010.
see, here's two things they can do to offset that. The first thing is they can have events where they either sponsor an event and have their vehicles there. It's a great thing.
They do that now. Yeah, and it's
see the
good. It's
last
good that we do it 010. But he shouldn't be relying on fans, because we've seen that the fans can get stuff wrong too. Like with the 4680s, there's a lot of folks who thought that Battery Day meant that the 4680 cans include all of the improvements, where each thing that Elon presented at Battery Day is actually an independent deal. And then when he said how much better it is for price and performance and blah blah blah, that was then putting everything all into the one can. But that's all of the improvements. But like the Model Y with the 4680s isn't going to be the full deal, because it's not going to be high nickel. So it's actually just going to have the advancements of easier cooling, having to put less cells in, that sort of thing.
So speaking of batteries,
Yeah.
did you guys see where it was discovered that the new Model Ys have slightly more capacity than the older Model Ys?
I didn't see that
So
one.
the older Model Ys have like a 77.8 kilowatt hour battery pack, something like that, something in that neighborhood. The newer ones actually have 82.6 or something. This was discovered by the bearded Tesla guy. He did a YouTube video and put that out there, and by tapping into the ODB2 port and stuff, and he has a 2020 Model Y, and he just bought a Model Y that he just took delivery of. So he was comparing the two, and he was comparing all the different comparisons, all the different things to him. But one of the things that he discovered was an actual difference in the of what the battery pack capacity was reading. However, what's interesting is it seems like the newer Model Y was still software limited to the same mileage capacity as the older one. So it still had the same range. So his theory is that later on there may be a software update to unlock a little bit more range, and so you might get slightly more range out of it. And he said it's roughly about, it was like a 5% difference between capacities. So if you look at possibly a 5% difference in range, you may see it go up, instead of like 326 miles of range, you may see it go up to 340 or somewhere in that neighborhood. If they unlock it. Or the other theory is that they may not unlock it, but they may just keep that capacity available for degradation purposes. So then if your battery degrades slightly and you get a little bit of degradation, then it just increases the amount that it can utilize, to the point that you're still getting the same range over time.
Yeah, that's how Chevy Volt does it.
You don't decrease your range at all over time. So we don't know which way they're going to go with that, but it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do.
Yeah, in the past, what they've done is they've, like you said, they've rolled it out, and then once enough of them had it, they roll out a software update and say, hey, by the way, if you had a car for the last 6 months, we've increased your range. So
Steph, your car might have more range.
It might.
Hopefully,
it might
more
have
longevity.
It might have more range later than it has the day you get it.
Right.
You mean when it lands in my driveway?
Right.
Right. That part.
Some folks have seen the interior of the Rivian and its features. I saw one of the prototypes when I went to New York, 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2 years because of COVID. It was a nice vehicle, and that's what I would actually call a luxury car. The Teslas are premium, but this is more like Land Rover luxury style. It's not minimalist. I mean, it's more minimalist than the older cars, the combustions, but it's not minimalist in the way that the Tesla is. And it's pretty. And hopefully next month people start getting their deliveries. But some folks are pointing out that the interior and the programming look very familiar. But at the same time, so does the Aptera. So it may just be that this is the best user interface to use. It may not.
Yeah, with Aptera going to GTA 5.
Yeah, it wasn't GTA 5.
No, the Aptera had the video released.
Right, they released a video yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So what do y'all think about Rivian?
Is imitation the greatest form of flattery, or what? Like,
right?
That UI looks very familiar.
Wow.
Not to mention just the layout of the screen.
Right.
But I think the interior is a much needed upgrade to the Teslas. I think it looks really good, and it was a Black woman that did. So I'm rooting for it. Their design chief on the Rivian, the woman she was at Nike. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But no, I like it, and I definitely think like as more people make the switch over to EVs, there'll be more attention paid on making it a more luxurious experience inside, and not just focus on the tech. But I really like the inside of the Rivian. I think it looks really nice.
Definitely. And I want to apologize to everybody in the audience. I thought that my microphone stunner was on, and so you've been hearing the racetrack by my window all day long. And it's not really a racetrack, it's a public street, but these people have these loud engines and motorcycles, and they think that people want to hear it all day long till 3 a.m, and then resuming at 4:30 in the morning. It's not even a big hill out front of my house. It's a little bunny hill, and there's no need for all that noise. If the pickup truck, or not pickup truck, if the big Mack trucks and the city buses and school buses don't need a rev to get up it, then your Chevy truck and your motorcycle don't need it either. Sorry. But I didn't realize, like, Steph was talking and my box was just blinking yellow and I wasn't talking, and it's like, it's the stunner is off. So we've got another video to share with you right now of Randy. I always say his name wrong. Randy P. Of Unplugged Performance, getting his, well, not his, but getting the Unplugged Performance they call it Dark Helmet, getting it ready to go for another Pikes Peak run. They placed first in their competition, the exhibition, and then the Model 3 that was done up with unplugged stuff. They got second, and I forget who was third. But let's see. I might have another video of them actually doing the run. No, I don't. Oh well. But it was
Unplugged
really
does some
cool.
interesting stuff.
It
So
was.
I just found out that their Pikes Peak run, the finish line is actually pushed down a little bit because of the weather on the mountain.
Oh.
So
Down closer or down further up the mountain?
Closer, further down.
Okay.
They're not going to be able to go all the way to the top like they wanted to, because the mountain determines that.
It does.
But it's going to be interesting to see them, how they do.
Yeah.
I know they're going to do well on that.
Yep.
With the plaid.
I like Breakneck Trent says, I don't have Rivian money, so I need a work truck. Sticking with Cybertruck. Same.
Well, see, that's the thing. The Cybertruck's going to give you the best bang for your buck when it comes to specs and capabilities for the price point.
Right. He also asked if
all
touting
the Ford Lightning and saying, "Oh, well, that's cheap and it's going to be the cheapest." Well, no, it's actually not. When you break it down and when you actually look at what bang for your buck, what you're actually getting for the price, and what price point you're going to have to be at. When all the details really come out, they're going to find that the Cybertruck is going to be the more economical option.
Is the Lightning over 6,000 pounds?
Yes.
Yes.
Or at least they said it was. They might change by the time they actually make it.
Okay.
But the good thing about it being over 6,000 pounds is you get your tax credit if you use it for business.
Yep. Same
and
with
we know that the Cybertruck will be, because it's bigger than the Model X, and the Model X is. So yes, all cars
are going to have to.
Yeah, all cars going up Pikes Peak don't need to have a siren, but they do need to have a minimum decibel level. So you'll see that every electric car, most hybrids, and the fuel cell cars, and the other alt fuels like steam and whatnot, all the other cars that they've sent up there are going to require a siren. And I'm just so glad that this year's siren Unplugged Performance picked one that sounds like a police car and not that thing that they used last year. That thing, or was it last year? Whatever year it was, they're oh man. Oh man, it was annoying to watch. This one is like, all right, yeah, this is a siren, but it sounds like a police car. It's a lot easier to deal with. Plaid
sounds a little more normal.
Right. It wasn't ear piercing, and like it was like nails on a chalkboard watching that last one because of the variety of siren they used. Elon Musk donates $1 million to the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation.
Nice.
Yeah, SpaceX founder Elon Musk has established the Gateway to Mars at Brownsville's Boca Chica Beach, located in Cameroon County, Texas. Yeah, he does a lot of donations to education. And in fact, even has a school. The name escapes me all of a sudden. I had it. I had it. But yeah, it's good news.
So he's doing all that stuff for Texas. He's bringing in this factory, bringing in all these jobs. He's donating a bunch of money to the community. He's being a great community partner and neighbor and all that, but yet he still can't sell his vehicles in the state of Texas.
Right. So
I mean, that's just crazy to me.
It totally is. I got the numbers on that Unplugged Performance. On their run, they did 136 miles per hour in practice at 14,000 feet.
Nice. Oh yeah, because of course, it being electric,
it doesn't breathe.
It doesn't matter that the air is thinner. It's not losing any power.
Right. In fact, it might even be better the air is thinner because it doesn't have to push all that air out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike the gas cars, which are hurting.
Yeah. So speaking of bureaucracies, Omar and I were talking about this one the other day.
Oh yeah, that part.
So the story on this one is Revel was coming in on the EV accelerator program that they had for taxis, and then there was a meeting right before they were supposed to hit the road, and that program was canceled. And they were told that they could buy 50 existing gas taxis and then convert them to Model Ys. But the problem is, depending on how you buy them, you still have to buy a brand new gas taxi to put it in service to use that new medallion, and then convert that to a Model Y. And
Wait, but they were buying 50 medallions that are already out there, not getting they weren't getting 50 new medallions.
the opposite. They were getting 50 new medallions, and now that the program is canceled, they have to buy 50 existing medallions and convert them over.
I mean, but that, like, when you think about the structure of the taxi medallion system, that makes more sense to me than just saying we're going to give them 50 new ones, because I mean, those things were costing like $1 million. And if I invested in some, it's like Bitcoin, right? Like if there's a limited number and you buy into that, and then suddenly they switch it up and say, no, we're going to add in more, the value of what you invested in goes down. So that makes sense to me, but making them buy gas cars with it does not make sense. But saying
Right.
we're going to, you have to buy out these 50 that are already in existence, that part makes sense.
But the bad part is where they had already been approved. They had the medallions in hand, and they were doing it as part of this, NYC greening program.
Right.
And then they bought the cars. They took out the front seats. They painted them. They installed the DC fast chargers. And then like the night or two before they're getting ready to hit the streets, oh, we've just canceled all 50 of your medallions, Vivo.
Yeah, it's like it wouldn't be so bad if they would have told them from the door.
Or if they didn't give them the medallions to begin with, and then
no, you have to do it this way, or didn't give them the medallions to begin with. But
right.
when you're just going to tell me at the very last minute, you know what? Nah, I know you already got the infrastructure and all the vehicles, and you done outfitted them and upfitted all the vehicles and did all this, but no, you can't go. You can't do it now.
I have a feeling somebody showed up at their door and said, "Be ashamed if something happened to all these 50 taxis," and then walked away.
Right? It is New York.
That's what it feels like. But I mean, I like the idea of taking off 50 combustion cars off the road, but I don't like. I mean, because who says that there's 50 for sale right now? And like Steph said, when you go in competition for them, they get expensive fast. You're talking millions of dollars. Whereas before you had to pay just the paperwork and however much the bare medallions cost before they go into the market. And then you get them in hand, and then all of a sudden they're voided. It's like, so what do we give you all this money for all the paperwork for? And what do we do with these things? We got to take them off and put new ones on now, if we can even buy existing ones. And then if the ones they buy don't meet the requirements that they don't have to be replaced with brand new combustion vehicles, it's like, come on, guys. This could have been done smoother, and they could have done this at any point in the process that these guys were talking about it, because they did their discovery and they did their due diligence before buying 50 cars, before buying 50 DC fast chargers at a minimum of 50 grand.
To me, it just looks like some lobbyists got to some politicians and got in their ear, and now it's just a big money grab. That's just what it looks like to me. I don't know.
Well, the taxi lobby is just as big as the dealership lobby is in the South, and the fossil fuel lobby is in Texas.
Probably bigger.
Alabama. Probably bigger, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there's a lot of money involved in that.
Yeah.
A lot of money at stake there. So it's a shame. I just think it's a shame because it's like you're stifling progress, basically.
Yeah. All right. So then folks are talking about Elon. Go ahead.
That taxi cab issue. The really stupid part about that, because I've kept up with the rideshare stuff since more than likely 2016, before it went nationwide. When Uber and Lyft became into prominence pretty much 17 and on nationwide, the New York City itself started regulating Lyft and Uber, basically limiting how many drivers they can put out at any given time. So if you had 250 people active or 20
Oh, but
people
this
already
isn't
signed up,
rideshare.
that's the only 250.
This is a taxi company.
No, I'm getting to that. But they regulated because there were going to be more cars on the road to include taxis and people that are riding their own cars. And half their reason was congestion and the fumes from idling. So if you have these cars as taxis going on the road, you eliminate the fumes from idling. And that's the crazy thing about that whole story. Like you're literally limiting the idling fumes that they were claiming that all the taxis and the additional ride share cars that were on the actual roads of New York for. So that's the really crazy part. That's the first thing that came to my head when I saw that.
They fulfilled the letter of the letter and promise of the program, only for the program to be ripped out from under them at the last moment.
Yeah, it's just crazy because, whatever excuse they want to use is the literal excuse they used against Uber and Lyft when they exploded on the scene.
Yep. So I've got something cool here. I didn't get the spousal permission to buy one, but the Tesla decanter is back in stock. It's empty. You can fill it with your own beverage, and it's only $150. A couple of our friends found one.
Than what it was.
Not much. It was $200 before with the alcohol.
I thought it was $250.
$250 with the alcohol.
$250. So without the alcohol, you're saving $100.
Yep, and it's got a slightly different.
From what I heard, the quality of tequila that came in it originally was like a $30.
It was mid-grade. It was mid-grade.
So they've got $100 for a $30 bottle. So basically, you're saving like $70 there.
Right.
I still say if you can get the other.
So how many did you order, Casey?
Nobody.
I didn't get spousal approval to buy any.
Oh, because you already had the original.
Right. So it's got slightly different print. Like on mine, you can see that it's got the Tesla tequila information. Let me put this down someplace safe.
Oh, right, because it's not coming with the tequila and it doesn't have tequila information because you're going to put whatever you want in it.
But it looks like the same box with the same information, like how to take care of it. Best not to just set it down on the table next to me and have it fall.
So, Dan, are you getting one?
I'll be in trouble.
What?
Are you getting one, Dan?
If I could find a way to expense it, yeah, and I might like the other one that comes from the other vendor.
Well, see, the problem with the other vendor, the knockoff is plastic. One of our friends in one of our groups bought it at $49, and it was plastic.
Wait, so Casey, can you
No one knows.
buy it and do a review on it and expense it?
Yeah, because that's one of my businesses.
So why don't you do that? And then you could give it to them.
Because
Yeah, you could
my
do
wife
that.
already said
and then,
no.
And then after you're done with it, you can give it
I
to
don't want to fight.
Why did you give it to me first?
I just said you could give it to Stephanie. Wait, why are you upset? I said after you're done with it, you can give it to Stephanie. Don't worry, she'll put her address in the chat.
I'm just used to it.
That's an inside joke. I think she's giving you a gesture on that one.
Yeah, there's a gesture.
Oh,
Yeah.
So they're talking about Elon Musk's prefab house at 50,000. I don't know if you guys wanted to talk to that at all. All the pictures they show of it.
Oh yeah, he's living in a tiny house now, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said previously he was going to sell all of his stuff, all of his houses, all of so that's
except
him
his party
living
house.
up to his word.
Yeah,
He's about to make that.
I respect that. He's a man of his word. I respect that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it, but I respect it.
right. The reason he kept his party house, he said it's getting. What?
Go ahead, Case.
He said that his party house is getting more use as a party house than it would be if somebody with a not humongous family moved into it. So Yeah, I like that it's modular and that you can expand on it as well. I see cars
Now,
equaling
if he's
performance
he's
of
selling these
3.
outright, or is he going to
No,
rent
he's a
them?
customer. He's renting it from SpaceX, who bought it from the company.
Okay.
I see cars equaling performance 3, Y, and S costing less than $20,000 if Tesla's mass production plans come to fruition. Hopefully helped by competition from other car manufacturers adopting similar tech. Absolutely. And as we saw last week with a lot of the Tesla suppliers in China are buying these gigapresses now. So now it's just a matter of time if they can convince these legacy companies to try something new. But as Sandy Monroe's been explaining in all of the videos, they're not really keen to try new stuff without kicking and screaming the whole way. So we'll see what happens with it. Live in a prefab house from the 40s. Yeah, there were like the Sears houses here were pretty cool. You just order it from the catalog, and then they'd send you a pallet, and you put your house together.
They're called row homes where I was from.
So we've got another picture to share here. Some folks might appreciate it. Some folks might be like, "That's gross." Tesla supercharger is getting direct service from McDonald's. Get a Big Mac while charging. And then it says recharge with McDonald's while you recharge your Tesla.
There you go.
And
That
so
makes
for me,
sense.
for me, this reminds me of like the Wawas.
They got apples for sale.
Yeah, they do have apples in a bag, pre-cut. This reminds me of the Wawa's setup. Like at Wawa, when you pull up to the supercharger, they actually have another label on it for Wawa that says what spot it is. So you wouldn't see the 123 CA, AB, whatever for the station. It's still there, but you'd see like the one I stopped at was 49, and I could go on the Wawa app and order, and they would bring me the food to spot 49. And it looks like that's exactly what McDonald's is doing here. And then the comments were,
I think this is a win-win all around.
yeah, the comments were all over the
this
map.
is
'cause
literally
some people,
I see it as a good thing. I mean,
yeah,
if McDonald's is partnering up with Tesla and saying, hey, put some superchargers near here, or if they, if they see that there's a supercharger right next to their property and they want to deliver food to people,
yeah,
fantastic, have at it.
yeah. I think most of the complaints were
This
that it
is
was
a
fast
win-win.
food and that the other one is a Subway, and like they're complaining that there's no what Steph would call not trash food.
Well,
See,
I
here's
mean,
the thing.
it's not the healthiest option, but
Are you
I mean,
Right.
if
in trouble?
it just happens to be next to,
I slightly
that?
disagree, Steph.
No.
here's,
I slightly disagree.
here's the thing: McDonald's is not the
I'm gonna slightly disagree with you.
We're talking about sustainability and the environment. McDonald's is trash, and you cannot
All right.
farm beef. And and even just like their food waste, but just the mass production of beef is horrible for the environment. So
It is.
and the food is trash and it's terrible for you. And as Black people, we need to do better and not eat fast food because we have higher rates of high blood pressure and everything else that I'm not going to get on my soapbox.
so McDonald's does have other options now.
Not be eating it.
But McDonald's does have other options now.
I'm
other
going to
than just
disagree
the
with you,
trashy
Stephanie.
burgers.
I wish they had vegetable like entrees
Yes,
that weren't
Yeah,
salad.
that would be
I'm
nice.
gonna disagree with you, Stephanie, only for a few things. McDonald's, like Ford, is a capitalistic company, so they're going to evolve and change. For those people who are not as health conscious or not as sustainability, I have kids. They love French fries, so we're going to stop, eat, let them run, and charge. At the same time, the people who cannot afford or do not understand most of the options above a Tesla, then that's when the Tesla owner is going to be like, yeah, there's 30, it's 35,000, Teslas. These are affordable Teslas on the market. It's good for Tesla. It's backdoor advertising for Tesla because now they're going to be everywhere at McDonald's, and McDonald's can transition effectively over to their healthier options, like the apples that they shrunk the kid sizes fries down, or you can request 2 packs of apple slices. You can get their salads. I used to eat their salads all the time. They are tasty as all get out because when I was doing swing shifts, I grabbed their salads. They have their healthy options. They can push those healthy options now that they have this vehicle that's staying there for a long time. And these people are going to be hungry. So it means profits for them. And if you're saving, like I mentioned before, every other charger, if you're saving money with your gas, that money can go to them. So I do believe they'll start to transition. Just lobbing them and crucifying them off the rip is not going to be the best option. I think the capitalism is what they're seeing. And since Tesla sees that Ford is creating that extra competition, then they'll be like, we can snatch up the Tesla owners first while they have that niche market. So I think it's a genius idea because there are people like yourself, Steph. They'll be like, they're not sustainable. And then McDonald's will be like, yes, we are. Like, oh, you said food waste? We're going to this. We have the a version of the Impossible Burger, or they'll start to do that because it's money. That's the only reason why people went to organic, money. So
They're dragging their
I
feet on
think they're
their
going to change as they go.
But they
Well, so
have
McDonald's is not my first option, but McDonald's is not my first option when it comes to eating while on the road or while I'm out, whatever. But if you happen to go to a supercharger and it happens to be right next to a McDonald's, now that's an option. McDonald's has stepped their game up on their coffee, so I might get a coffee. I might get a iced coffee. I might get other options that are available. Like you said, I might get a salad or whatever. They do have some other options that are there. It doesn't mean that I have to get a burger. In fact, I've given up eating beef for, I don't know, the last 5 years, whatever. So I don't eat beef anymore. So I wouldn't even get a burger anyway at McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I would get something
And that's
else
my hope.
from McDonald's. I might want a chicken sandwich, whatever. I might want some French fries, whatever. The fact that the option is there. Options are a good thing. The more options available, the better. And if that happens to be located at the McDonald's and the McDonald's is going to deliver the food directly to the person and it can stay in their car, that's great. But at the same time, if there's another business next door, hey, maybe I'm going to walk over there instead. I might not want McDonald's. I might walk over there.
I also got a
My
kid.
car's still charging, but I'm going to walk over here.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think options are great, and I actually love the idea that like there is this like fuel like situation where number one, McDonald's stay busy, so there's going to be people there, so for safety and security, like I like that. I just think McDonald's is it's just
You're not a fan of McDonald's. I understand that completely. I get that. But at the same time, while you're there, since it's at a McDonald's, like I just want to go to Dan's point a little bit. While you're there, you're charging your Tesla. You're at a McDonald's. There's other people that are just going to McDonald's because they just want to go to McDonald's. Then they see these Teslas over there. That's interesting. Maybe strike up a conversation with somebody. Talking to somebody and educating somebody about the electric vehicles and about, hey, these are actually more affordable than you think they are. Or by the way, this, that, and the other. And then next thing you know, you might strike up a conversation with somebody. It might educate and open somebody's eyes up to something that they really knew nothing about. So everything is always an opportunity in some way, shape, or form, whether it's to just be to educate some other people that may not have gotten that exposure at all whatsoever because that's not the world that they're living in. Right. Now they're getting exposed to that. I mean, there's just different ways to look at it.
And not only that,
factor, if you can do more than one thing and, tick off like, okay, I need to stop and recharge, but I also need to feed these kids or whatever. Like, I mean, that's definitely good because it's, maximizing people's time during the day, which is going to be,
Yeah, I always say, whenever I'm on a road trip, I always say, I follow the ABCs of road trip. Always be charging. So if I'm stopping, I'm charging. And if I need to stop to grab something to eat or I need to stop to go to the bathroom or whatever I'm going to be doing, no matter what, I'm only stopping in places where I can charge. And so if I'm charging at a supercharger, and by the way, it's at a McDonald's, I can go inside, I can use the bathroom, I can get a cup of coffee, I can, whatever I need to do. And it's great to have that option be there. Just the same thing like when they're located at a Wawa. or sheets or
And
whatever.
dipping back to the advertisement, this is no better way because McDonald's is going to show you, especially you, Stephanie, that not only are we health conscious by charging Teslas here, but we have apples with our kids' meals. We have them yogurts. We have salads on our menu. They're going to purposely advertise that right in front of your stall. Just be like, hey, come and eat with us, please. And
It'd be
then
nice if the apple
they'll
wasn't
take
wrapped
your
in
hint. You
plastic.
fill out that little survey.
It
They're like,
comes with a
oh,
wrapper.
that's what we need. It's
Yeah, it does
baby
come
steps.
with apples
Baby
all wrapped
steps,
in
okay? Baby steps. Like Ford didn't come out with everything right away. Baby steps. I'm just saying, give McDonald's some leeway because they actually put the charger there. The more chargers, the better for us. And I have to wean my kids off of chicken nuggets and French fries that are over salty. But God, they're so good. But that's there. You can look for salads and they can taste it, and it's a transition process.
That's right,
That's
Andy.
all I'm saying. Give them a chance.
Well,
Give 'em a
their
chance. You gotta give
salads
Ford a
aren't the
chance.
healthiest either. Their salads are just as bad for you as a Big Mac.
It's better than the burger, Casey. It's better than the
Not,
burger.
no, it's the same as the
Baby
burger.
It depends. It depends.
Don't put the
It's all about
dressing
that
on it. Yeah.
dressing. How much dressing
Yeah.
are you putting on there? That's what it's all. that makes a
Exactly.
big difference.
So Fred Hassan owns a Model S Plaid, and he's showing us that the square wheel steering, like how I can say it, I say the yoke style square wheel. It's not as bad as, oh, I didn't click the right button. Stand by. I did it without audio. But he's talking, so there. So the yoke style square wheel is not as bad as people make it out to be. Like you saw, you may have seen the video of this spastic person trying to make a left turn and make the car go forward and back as they do a 3-point turn, and it looks like they are just like being chased by a bear, and they don't know what they're doing with the wheel. Like they got it blind and they've never seen it before. So his response to that was, here's how to make a U-turn, and then the follow-up is how you make a really tight right-hand circle.
So all you do is you just put your thumb here, right? I'm going to make a complete circle. And you go down, but here's the kicker. Right here, you just flip your thumb, and you go all the way around. Just like that.
No big
Make
deal.
a complete circle, and then you just
Okay.
bring it back.
Oh, he's got a shake weight on there. I don't condone using the autopilot buddy, but I do condone using the wheel properly. So that's a U-turn, and then
complaining about.
Go ahead.
People complaining about the turning of how to turn that and the U-turn and turns. People do that with the thumb anyways.
Right.
I'll admit that I've done it. Like, it's just easier. So I'm sure Tesla had done this and be like, yeah, because they do this already when they turn, we can use the same methodology because you're putting your weight on your thumb to slide it around. You're going to
You're
grab
just
the
not
wheel.
grabbing the top for a little bit of extra grip when you start the turn, but you let go of the top anyway and use your thumb anyway when you're doing this.
Yeah,
exactly my point.
So then he had a response to people saying, well, what if you do it two-handed? Well, here's how you do it
Make the
two-handed.
turn and you grab and there's nothing. So here's the step. Let me put this thing into drive. Oops. All right, so here's the step. So we're going to start moving with the car. If we want to make a really tight right, all we're going to do is we're going to take this right hand like we normally do in a regular steering wheel and go down. But this hand, instead of being here on top, it's just going to slide under. And then you're going to do this. And now at this point, your right bottom hand has to come off. Your right hand comes off, your left hand comes down just like it does on a regular car, and you come right up here and you turn. There was absolutely no difference in what I did and if this was a round steering wheel, other than a slight learning curve, okay? And that's a complete circle, the toughest thing you'll ever have to do. All right.
And that's my
I mean,
point.
it looks like
exactly.
something you can easily get used to.
Yeah.
So
So when you
it's
see,
just a little different. Like
I kept
anything
saying-
else, if it's different, it requires a little bit of change. Like a lot of people are scared of change, but realistically, you get used to it.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying is try it before you knock it, and try it legitimately, not like that person who's like flailing around. And Andy, yeah. So some people aren't good with driving with one hand, and so that's why he made the other video for people who do two hands. And yeah, Breakneck Trent says temporary problem when FSD is fixed, it's fine. Exactly. And then the other part of this is these are the most extreme turns you'll ever do. So you're only really doing this in a parking lot, if you're doing a U-turn, or if you're doing a K-turn. For any reason you're doing a 3-point turn around. Your regular driving goes from here to here. That's it. You don't have to take your hands off of the edges of the yoke.
Yeah.
Why did Randy? Well, he's used to a round wheel, and he doesn't have time for a learning curve when he had that race coming up right after they got the car. So I would rather the guy stick with what he knows than have him learn the new input right before a race and then crash another Tesla on a mountain. Personally. If you did that on your chest, yeah, you're not allowed to cross your... Yeah, exactly. You're not supposed to cross your hands. And that's why I call it a square wheel that's yoke style, because it's a wheel. It's not a yoke. If it were a yoke, it would be like we talked about last week, where Elon said that he wants to do the progressive gearing, or he wants to do steer-by-wire. But I think there's only 1 or 2 steer-by-wire models out there in the U.S. right now, so that would have slowed them further to invent something new and get it approved. So, I mean, I hope that they do the progressive steering eventually, but I mean, it is what it is right now. It's not the worst thing in the world, and yeah, it probably didn't need to be done, but it's not the end of the world like so many people are making it out to be. And it looks cool, and it does open up that, because right now, the top of the wheel, when I'm recording or not, it does get in the way for me with the screen in front of me. So you've got 2 solutions. You can have like the Model Y and the Model 3 not have a screen behind the wheel, or you can do this and chop the wheel. And those are the only options really if you don't want to do a HUD. For some reason, Elon is super opposed to HUDs. About me now? Yeah, sure. I mean, I sometimes touch the top of my wheel, but I don't touch it all that much. And I like to drive in the mountains.
The only reason you're touching the top of your wheel is if you're cruising like this.
Yeah, that's the only time that I really touch the top of my wheel. Other than that, it's like he was doing, where he was coming around with the two-handed. Yeah, I love driving in the mountains.
That's the only reason you want to use the top of the wheel anyway. To flex.
Yeah, I usually use the spokes, the side spokes, where the controls are, because that's the only way I can get autopilot to listen to me. And so then that transitions to when I am manually driving. I don't. It doesn't sense me at the bottom, and it doesn't sense me at the top, and so I grab it on the sides anyway. The other bit of it is when your hand is on top of the wheel and the airbag goes off, you're punching yourself in the face. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's why they changed the in the driving instruction. They changed it from 10 and 2 to 9 and 3. Trying to get him in the screen here. 10 and 2 to 9 and 3.
They changed it.
Yeah, they did change it because of airbags.
If I'm cruising on a highway, I usually have my hand on the bottom, resting on
Right,
the bottom.
and as you can see on the yoke, let me share it again. On the yoke, on the bottom,
and on the yoke, it's like
there's more bottom.
down there anyway, so
It's a little bit of fat bottom. There's more bottom to hold it with, and you can put your hand in there and twist it if you want. Or some people said get the knob. I wouldn't get the knob because it's not safe.
I would do the knob. It's
yeah.
Actually not. I don't think that's legal in a lot of places.
It's not legal in a lot of places, yeah. And then your airbag is here, so if your hands aren't in the way of it, then that's even better.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So
everybody likes that,
right?
I don't recommend the knob unless you have a disability.
Right. That's I think the only time it really is legal in a lot of the places. So we've got 2 more pictures to share with you today. I don't know which one's going to come up first. Let's try this one. Yeah. Okay. So Tesla driver ticketed after parking in the foreign car lot in a domestic lot at a GM factory. And Tesla Model 3 is the most American vehicle in the world.
Right? And so they parked a Model 3, which is the most American vehicle
Yep.
And they got a ticket for parking a foreign car in a domestic lot. Whoever was giving out tickets is just, they need to be re-educated.
Right. And then the folks went on to say, oh, well, you don't know the difference between a UAW car and a non-UAW car. And then, well, GM actually responded to this article, and GM said that there's several ways that these plants do it. They can do non-GM, non-UAW, and then they have literally foreign cars. If they do the segmentation of the parking, this was a lot where it literally was U.S. and non-U.S. And so GM responded and said that they're sorry. It was a warning, not a real ticket. It was a warning, so they erased his one strike, and they apologized. But it was kind of funny, and it stemmed from, we see this a lot with a lot of folks that don't understand that, especially in our community. Like, I don't want any foreign cars. Well, California's not another country, Bo. You may think it is, but it's not. It's still part of the U.S. And so it just goes to show you that for some reason these cars are seen as like Japanese or European, and they're not. You may, if you're in Europe, you may get a Chinese one, but in the U.S., it's going to be an American-built car, guaranteed, for the foreseeable future. Then I had another.
So when I first got my car, that was one of the things 6 years ago. That was one of the things people would ask me. Be careful with those foreign cars, all the maintenance and stuff. Like, whoa, pause, time out, player. It's American.
That's right. Tesla, who makes that?
Yeah, what's a Tesla? Who makes that exactly?
Right. So this is over on Only Used Tesla right now, and you've got a 2021 Model S long range in black, and it's a long range. It's not a plaid. Look at that price.
Wait, isn't the plaid 140?
The plaid was 130, and now it's 140.
No, but I'm just saying, for 10 grand more, you can get a plaid. Like, why would
a brand new plaid? Yeah,
a brand new,
rather than a used long range. This has got 22 miles on it. It's got a used title, so if your state offers any incentives, you don't qualify for them now because it's got 22 miles used title on it. The miles don't really matter. It's the fact that it's been delivered once before. So scalpers. I mean, it's got a PlayStation 5 in it, so scalpers, right? They stepped up.
Wow.
Yeah. Gross.
That's definitely a scalper. All I saw was Model S.
Well, you know what? It's a matter of somebody wants their car right now, and they don't want to.
That's what they're planning.
And are they?
I got one now.
Are they willing to pay the premium to have it right now?
Right. Let me pull something up real quick. All right, so Tesla.com/models, which is actually Model S. Your motorcycle's not that cool, buddy. You guys can't hear it now, thanks to the stunner. All right, so we've got ourselves a Model S. Let me. No, I don't want to chat with you guys.
So nice.
It does look nice.
The Model S is their best looking vehicle, I think.
It is by far.
Okay, so let's turn off the potential savings because that's useless to us. So yeah, we're looking at. It came back down in price.
It's 130.
It's back down.
Okay.
Look at that.
So let me get this straight. So I'm going to buy a used long range for $130.
$1 more than a plaid. A new plaid. Oh. So let's see, 130 minus 79,990.
Yeah.
So it's a $50,010 markup on a new Model S long range, or $1 markup on a Model S plaid, all brand new. We're talking here for this used car.
But you get it day of, which will have some value for some folks.
For some people, if you're really impatient for a car, but you don't get to choose your color, you don't get to choose your interior.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, as long as that has all the right color and interior and everything that you wanted.
There's that.
That may work.
That's all they really
But
want.
is it worth 50 grand to get it right now?
Right. Or you could have the second fastest PlayStation on the road.
The way they
They
were
really want from us.
I don't know. It's,
Hey, look, the market is what the market is.
it is. It totally
I mean,
is.
how much is something worth? Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it.
That part. Exactly that part.
As DMX says, what they really want from a Tesla. I mean,
Yes.
what they want.
So we've gone over again. I want to thank everybody, and
It's fine.
we'll catch you on the flip side. See you in a moment.